Hello, welcome back to Recovery Demystified. I'm your host, Early. I'm so excited to have y'all today. If you've ever felt left behind by the traditional addiction recovery paradigm, guess what? I'm coming back for you. And I know where all the nooks and crannies are, so you won't be left behind anymore. I am a person in long-term addiction recovery, and I got myself clean and sober without AA, and I have people come up to me all the time, Early, how'd you do it? How did you change your life? I get friends of friends sent to me, folks I've never met. How did you do it? AA didn't work for me, and I want to know what your path was like so I can try to do that too. And you know, the Buddha said there's 84,000 gates to liberation, and I think there's 84,000 gates to sobriety. In fact, I think there's probably even more than that because there's a gate to sobriety and it's different for each and every one of us. So I want to encourage you to follow your own inner truth, your own power, and find exactly what works for you. I will give you some cheat codes. I will let you know what worked for me. We're going to keep on doing some interviews and you can hear what worked for other folks too. And today, what I want to share with you is my Dry January reading list and my Dry January podcast list. For me, in my recovery, the quit lit, as they call it, genre of literature was intensely helpful. I read several books that completely changed my life and my perspective. And I also love podcasts, and plus they're free. So that is a wonderful resource. And with Recovery Demystified as a 501c3 nonprofit, part of our mission is to provide books and education to folks. So if something on this reading list piques your interest, but it's not in your budget to be buying books right now, send us an email, info@recoverydemystified.com, and we will get you that book for free. And conversely, if you have a little jangle in your pocket and you want to help out folks who are desiring a book, they're interested in addiction recovery, and you've got a little extra money, you want to help them out because recovery is for everyone. It's not just for people who can buy fancy things. Let's help out our neighbor who might be in financial hardship who really wants to read a book. You can send us money in the Venmo at Recovery Demystified. And we also have a PayPal, which you can use our email, info@recoverydemystified.com, to find that. It would be extremely helpful. Thank you so much. And if you get anything out of this podcast, share it with a friend, rate and review. And without further ado, here is my Dry January reading and podcast list. First on there, I would say one of the things that has had the biggest effect in my life is Annie Grace with This Naked Mind. She has both a book and a podcast. The podcast has two different forms. One is interview, and her interview style is pretty laid back. She just kind of brings people on and lets them tell their story. This is always an effective method of learning because you can hear, for one, you're not alone. All different kinds of people are suffering from addiction. It's always suggested to look for the similarities and not the differences. And then you can hear what other people did to recover and get little ideas and try to implement them in your life and see if they work for you. So that interview format is great. Eat that stuff up. It's free. And then her other format for the podcast, she also has addiction coaching episodes, which I also love because folks will come on there in their process with their questions to This Naked Mind certified addiction coaches. And then the coaches kind of walk them through whatever hurdles they're at the time. And those hurdles might be your hurdles. Guess what? Free therapy, free addiction coaching. Can't complain about that. And secondly, her book, y'all. I love books. I'm a voracious reader. It was really hard to read when I was in my addiction. But her book is one that I've read multiple times because it is good. So what I love about her is she had an alcohol addiction and she got curious. She was like, what is going on here? Like, why am I waking up at 3 a.m. with crazy anxiety and then like drinking again the next day after I promised myself I'm not going to? And after she got curious, she was just like, not a scientist, not a medical provider of any sort. She was like a marketer, I believe. And she got curious about addiction, went into it super hard, studied it in and out, just trying to figure out like, why is it so confusing? And she completely breaks it down in this way that is so easy to understand. And for her, the goal is to make alcohol small and irrelevant in her life. And if you read the book, if you get involved in her work, her programs, basically the end goal is to no longer have cravings, and that is because you change your belief system. And the way you change your belief system is by deconstructing all of the things you think you believe about alcohol. And you might be like, oh, yeah, advertising, that doesn't work on me. But even if you feel like it doesn't work, that stuff is happening at a subconscious level. So once you get in and you completely reprogram your brain, like from a subconscious level, which sounds kind of crazy, but it's possible and you can do it. You can no longer have cravings because if you fully, with every cell in your body, your conscious and your subconscious brain, believe that alcohol does not provide a benefit, why would you drink something that doesn't provide a benefit? Full stop. I read her book a year before I entered long-term sobriety, and then I read it again immediately before I entered long-term sobriety. And I did everything that woman said, and I no longer have cravings, and I no longer believe that alcohol provides any benefit. And that book single-handedly changed my life. And like, thank you, Annie Grace, bless that woman, So if one of your goals is you're like, man, I'm just fucking sick of alcohol. I'm bored with it. Like, I'm done with the obsession. Pick up her book, destroy all of these preconceived notions that are in your subconscious, empower yourself, reprogram your brain. The book, it's self-published, but it's good. And she has like one or two blind spots, things that sort of bother me, like she's got like fat phobic moments where she's like, and of course it's great when you lose 15 pounds. And I'm like, well, for me, I gained 30 pounds after I quit drinking, and it was awesome because I was emaciated and dying. So, just got the fat phobia. Let's get curious about fat phobia. So, trigger warning on that if you're getting into one of her books. She's got a blind spot there. But other than that, man, whenever I'm listening to other different recovery podcasts, people will drop her name more often than they're dropping like anyone else's. So, the book is good. The content is good. Check it out. Next, I would say check out Nzinga Harrison's book, Dr. Nzinga Harrison. She has 2 podcasts. One is from the past. It's called In Recovery. And she's great because she's a doctor, so she's got like all the professional training and that side of it, the neuroscience. And she's like an outstandingly compassionate doctor. Like, listen to her talk, and if your doctor doesn't talk to you like that, like, get a new doctor because you need someone that's going to speak to you with understanding and compassion and hope. So In Recovery is good because they talk about more than just alcohol. Like, they're going to touch on like addiction to weed, addiction to smartphones, addiction to just all sorts of different kind of stuff. And they stopped making episodes for that a couple of years ago, but everything is still archived. So go check out In Recovery by Dr. Nzinga Harrison. And then her newer podcast was to promote her book called Unaddicted. And a full disclosure, I haven't read the book yet, but I know it's going to be good. It's sitting on my kitchen table because I've heard her talk so much, and I believe in what she has to say. It's fully backed by just like compassion. She has a radical political viewpoint. She talks about intersectionality. It's not just about like dopamine and brain chemicals. It's about how like your epigenetic trauma affects your chances of addiction. It's about how societal influences can affect your chances of addiction. And she's really down to earth. It's not like too much sciencey stuff. She's super relatable. And in the Unaddicted podcast, she has an entire season that is devoted to interviewing people of color, which I think is really important. That different groups of people's voices that have been historically silenced are heard. So she's uplifting that group of people, and I think that that's wonderful. And that podcast also is discontinued, but everything is still archived. So go check it out. I haven't read the book yet, but I'm sure it's going to be great. Y'all, she is so compassionate. She's such a genius. And I wish she'd get more credit for it. So yeah, Unaddicted, the podcast, Unaddicted, the book, and then In Recovery, the podcast by Dr. Nzinga Harrison. Third, I would say, I just reread this book, and it's still good. Holly Whitaker has a book. It's called Quit Like a Woman. But you don't have to be a woman to read it. It's got good information for everyone. And what I love about her book is that she leaves no stone unturned. She is going from like the neuroscience of addiction all the way to the coping skills after you've kicked and are sober. She also has a radical political perspective. She touches on intersectionality as well, and societal influences. She's actually the person who first was able to validate my feelings about AA not working for me. Because for a long time, what they tell you at AA is like, if it doesn't work for you, then you're the problem. And that always, I have chest pain just saying that. But I was trying AA around the same time that I was reading her book, and she has a whole chapter about why, like the history of AA and why it was designed for wealthy, white, heterosexual cis men in like the 1930s. And when I first read that, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to cry. Like, I'm not the problem. It just doesn't work for everyone. It wasn't designed for me. And that's okay. So her book, it's also really, really funny. Like she's sassy and she's joking the whole time. It's a really casual read. The only thing that I don't like about it is she says the V word. What's the V word? Vibrations. Ooh. I can't stand that hippie shit, man. I'm just kidding. It's a great book. She does say vibrations a few times, but it's all good. I'm just trying to get at that. The book is pretty much flawless. It's awesome. It's a great read. And lastly, but not leastly, Recovery Elevator. Y'all, this is one of the first podcasts that I found in recovery, and I fucking love it. It's so good. It comes out every Monday like clockwork, every Monday for the past 10 years, y'all. It's hosted by this pretty wacky dude named Paul Churchill. He's a goofball. You can count on him to talk about his dog, Ben, and Third Eye Blind like every 15 minutes. He's funny. But it's also an interview-based format. So you're going to get people's real stories. It's going to feel relatable. And then you can hear like, what kind of coping skills people had. You'll get tons of different ideas of stuff to try and see how it works for you. It's uplifting. It's inspiring. And it is like open to all of the 84,000 paths to recovery. And then a few years ago, Paul Churchill wrote a book called Alcohol is Shit. And it's like just purely his goofy style, coupled with like all of the seriousness and love that comes with helping folks in addiction recovery. And it's sort of like a more brief version of Holly Whitaker's book, where he goes into everything just a little bit, leaves no stone unturned, touches on sort of just like the full picture of addiction recovery. Like, it's more than just willpower, it's more than just abstinence, and it's about healing yourself and creating a life that you don't have to escape from. He says, it's not a no to alcohol, it's a yes to a better life. And I'm like, fuck yeah, Paul Churchill. The funny thing happened to me the first time I listened to his podcast, though. Some voice in my brain was like, this guy's annoying, don't listen to this. And later, as I started to learn more about like my inner critic, my inner addicted voice, my inner fearful voice that's not wanting to change, now I'm like, oh, I see, is the inner addicted voice being like, don't listen to this guy, he's annoying, go have a drink instead. But I'm glad that I persevered, because now I find him just to be silly and charming instead. So that just goes to show that when we recognize these funky voices in our head, we don't have to listen to them, and we can find some of the best, most healing recovery resources for our own paths. And that concludes my podcast and book list for Dry January. No pressure to read or listen to any or all of it, but those are some of my favorites. They've really helped me over the years. I still listen to Recovery Elevator every Monday because it's so good. And I've been eating up Unaddicted and Nzinga Harrison's podcast. I've been sort of binge listening to that because it's also really, really good. And it's just the tip of the iceberg. There are a plethora of free addiction recovery podcasts out there. Go ahead and listen to them all nonstop. Listen to them in your sleep. Hypnotize yourself. I'm just kidding. And the quit lit genre is like its whole thing. Like, new books are coming out all of the time. And Recovery Demystified will pay for any book that you can come up with, as long as it is within our mission. So if it's a book on addiction recovery or healing, self-help, and trauma, go ahead and shoot us an email if you can't afford it, and we will help you out, because you deserve recovery no matter your income level. Lastly, I want to just touch on something else that's really helped me in my recovery, which is, and if anyone who knows me, they're going to roll their eyes a little bit, I'm obsessed with gardening. I freaking love it. And a few years ago, I got introduced to Korean natural farming, more specifically a book called Jadam. And healthy coping skills are so important, you guys. If you can ever get your hands in the dirt, try it out. It just might make you feel great. But one of the concepts in Jadam is SESECC, and it stands for simple, easy, scientific, and effective. And I love CC out in the garden, and I love CC in my recovery and in my life. And as far as listening to a podcast, that is simple, that is easy, it is scientific, and it is effective. Same thing with reading these Quit Lit books. It is simple, it is easy, it is scientific, and it is effective. And if you can embrace CC in your life, it's going to lead you to finding things that are going to work for you, and simplifying it and making it like less complicated is going to make it less scary, less daunting, and more achievable. You are powerful. You're worth it. You can do it. I love you. I'm excited if anyone's local and you're going to make it to the Dry January courses. I hope we don't get an ice storm this weekend. If the library's open, we're going to be there, okay? Even if it's cold as hell. Anywho, Thank you for tuning in again today. If you're interested in being interviewed, send me an email. I'm very excited to interview more people. If you have questions, I might do like an Ask Me Anything type of thing sometime soon. So shoot me an email on that. And most importantly, if you get something out of this, share it with your friends and family. Recovery Demystified will always be free. I love you, dear listener. May you be happy and free. Recovery Demystified is produced and edited by me, Early Brunner. Stevie Petet made our logo. Our social media manager is Kaylee Bausch. Logan Bragg wrote our beautiful theme music. And we are entirely supported by donations as a 501c3 nonprofit. Your tax-deductible donations can be made to our Venmo at Recovery Demystified or to our PayPal, info@recoverydemystified.com. Thanks for listening.